Welcome to Magic the Flavouring, the Magic the Gathering podcast, where we talk about all things magic, flavour design, and lore. I'm your host, Andy Man.
Hello, this is Nathan Cancel.
Those intros are getting quicker. Hello, hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Not bad. This feels we're in a new. So okay. A few things, housekeeping before we get into the body of the episode. We're in a new space.
Yeah.
We're recording in Nathan's new fancy house.
Yeah.
Rented. You haven't bought it.
No, I'm not renting anything.
Cool. Just
no,
before
no,
anyone thinks that we're too bourgeois.
Yeah, my accent beguiles the poverty in my pockets.
Does it?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I sound quite posh sometimes.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
we're from the south of England.
Yeah,
everyone who's not a Cockney
I am fancy.
sounds like yeah.
I'm from Croydon, mate. You know, I don't actually talk like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, new house.
So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. We did a little test. The acoustics seem to be fine.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an echo.
That much, but you know, whatever. There's lots of boxes around.
There are.
I'm surprised we found the recording equipment. I have also, just if anyone, like, if I have a lot of energy now and then in about 10 minutes I sound like I'm about to burst into tears, I've got a cluster headache whizzing around my brain. If anyone who listens is a doctor, do solicit professional medical advice to me and tell me if I need to worry about cluster headaches, because I've had them for years. I don't know if I might die. So, I mean, we're all going to die.
Yeah, just like talk to the doctor then. Like, don't use this as a platform to seek medical attention.
Well, you know, the NHS, I mean, with the current funding, the NHS isn't available to me either.
I did spend 5.5 hours the other day because I spiked my finger, like literally, like skewered myself.
You didn't tell me about this. What do you mean a through and through?
Through and through, as in like it was like pierced.
What? Yeah. You didn't tell me about this.
You can see like the hole in the palm there, because I went to stamp it that way, and you can kind of see like it all lines up.
Was this a ticket on like one of those little ticket spike things?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I don't know how it was so sharp, but
because it's all accident waiting to happen.
But it went all the way through. Yeah.
So my new job role at my current job that I've worked at for 4.5 years is now the venue operations manager, and my entire job now is just looking for everything that's dangerous and writing all the horrible ways that we could harm and be killed.
Oh, isn't it fun?
It's called risk assessments, but to me it's just called trauma.
Yeah. It's a disaster predicting, right?
Yeah. I'm catastrophizing for a living.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, good for the anxiety.
I didn't have any before. We're talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. All right, okay. What is
right? Yeah.
Before we get into the set proper,
because 1, 2, 3, 4 Turtles is not the original song.
No. What is your engagement with Ninja Turtles? Because this is. I think maybe apart from Sonic the Hedgehog, we didn't comment on Sonic the Hedgehog too much. Sonic the Hedgehog was like a day dot fandom for me because we had a Mega Drive,
Sega.
we had a Mega Drive 2 and a Master System. So I had Sonic the Hedgehog, the port for the Master System, and Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Mega Drive.
I think Sonic the Hedgehog was the first game that I ever saw played.
Yeah, exactly same.
And then closely followed by the original Resident Evil, which for a screaming horrible man that opens the game, I was like, well, I'm not playing that. So like, Sonic it was.
So out of all Universes Beyonds, I'm going to try my hardest not to be bitchy about Universes Beyond. Some of it more creep out, but let's talk about it other which ways. Sonic was maybe a day dot fandom for me. Turtles is a close second. Yeah. My older brother is 8 years older than me, and he was already into Ninja Turtles by the time I was born.
So I've definitely had a significant exposure. I definitely watched the 1970 or 80 whatever it was series, and then I watched the later cartoon as well. I've seen a couple of the films. I don't think I've actually ever played any of the games, but I know of them. So for the most part, I've got like a general knowledge of the Turtledom, and it's like the thing about the Turtle sphere is if you incorporate everything across from comics all the way through to games and the various series, there's like a lot of shit, lots of wackadoodle nonsense.
But like that, the original form of the Turtles was in. I'm going to get the date up because I did actually look this up. So
87, I think.
1987 was originally a comic book, which was by Mirage Studios. And it was a lampooning and sort of a critique of superhero comics at the time. Because they were meant to be a mishmash of the X-Men and Daredevil specifically. Because like Daredevil's got this kind of ninja thing going on. And obviously mutants being X-Men mutants.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you could literally the title Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle is like they went into the office and went, right, give us buzzwords and we'll just see what we can do from them. And they went, yeah, those 4, we'll just do all of them.
But like that is a thing that a lot of comic book writers at the time did in the late 80s, because that's when Marvel had its kind of, was it Silver Age? whatever. It wasn't like the height. It was kind of had its second wave of popularity with X-Men. And a lot of comic books were kind of commenting on it. I mean, Alan Moore's Watchmen, we were talking about a lot of this at the pre-record. That was just the Justice League that he was like kind of having a pop at, and this kind of American comic book thing. So like the fact that it went from this to then the toy rights being sold to, what was it, Nickelodeon? Nickelodeon owned it now, but I don't know who it was before.
Couldn't tell you. Off the top of my head, sorry.
But like the toy rights got sold, and then all the new cartoons, like the 1980s, early 90s cartoons popped up. And then, all those films with, like, Vanilla Ice in it. And
Go Ninja Go.
Go Ninja Go. I also had the Ninja Turtles, the movie, which was the first one with the animatronic, like, people in the suits.
That was weird. Like, that's the perfect amount of, we've fully committed to something that will not look good in the future.
I had a soundtrack tape, which I played on loop, without even really, I don't think I even saw the movie at the time. Like, so it's been around, like, in my brain for a long time. All my friends had the toys. Like, the turtle truck was like a coveted thing for me to like try and get.
I think it's one of those things of where you expect something like Spider-Man to be widely appreciated and known, and people are going to go mad for it. And then you look at like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I think you don't initially like kind of get just how much it was just in the background of your childhood, especially from the age that we are, and there are so many cards that I've seen in the set. I'm like, yeah, I remember that. I recall that. That's a cool reference. Which is surprising considering I wouldn't consider myself a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan.
I wouldn't now, but it's so fun. So, like, I guess my whole point is careering to bring it back to Magic is that there have been some universes beyond that I sort of dismissed out of hand because I didn't even like the IP and, like, why the fuck is it? I've avoided it, so why is it coming into my
Sure,
yeah. So, like, Doctor Who was a big one. I think we spoke much.
You can even say things like SpongeBob and stuff like that, right? Things that you automatically go, this doesn't work, I don't like it. It feels almost like you're testing my patience on what you can keep putting in my game.
But invariably, there are going to be ones where I'm like, well, I do have a relationship with this IP.
Yeah. Lord
of the Rings was a big one. Hobbit will be for me later this year. Star Trek later this year.
Yeah, you're actually having a year of... This is the Andy Man year for universes beyond.
But this is it. And like, it's kind of wild. I'm trying to get out my kind of UB philosophizing early out the gate, because this is more of a... It's less of a Flavor Picks episode. I think we're just going to generally talk about titles today. I think this really is one which should have been for me, I think, is maybe it. And weirdly, as much as I think many of the parts of this set fall real flat, both like in the mechanics and the flavour of the set, as well as just me not liking UB. But I have to say, this is far less jarring. And maybe this is really hypocritical. This is far less jarring to me than, say, Spider-Man of recent note. Despite the fact that they're both set in New York City and they should just be the same set.
So this is exactly one of the things I said pre-record, is that I think this set suffers significantly for having had the Spider-Man set be so recent and also be such a panned set. The fact that the environment is the same, the fact that it wasn't even supposed to be such a large amount of card equity and just be this little like subset, I think that would have done it so much more justice. But the fact that it had to, essentially, you've gone back to... We'll be going to New York 3 times in the space of, I think, 18 months, which is crazy because the whole point of Magic is going to different worlds and experience different places, and we're experiencing the same thing that's not only repetitive but also familiar because we can go there ourselves. And there is something to be said that the more I look into this set, the more I actually wish I lived in this New York, because this New York seems like a lot of fun. The mutagen and ninjas, man, like it's the fact that it forces all of these things together and it actually works to be this really vibrant world is a really cool thing for Magic to be able to express. Like, Spider-Man felt so horrible because it was just the same shade over and over and over again. And Across the Spider-Verse and Into the Spider-Verse worked on a certain axis that you can't really get with a Magic set, because it doesn't feel like everything on screen at the same time isn't this crazy crossover. It's, oh good, another Spider-Man card. Whereas there is hints of that in the fact that you've got 8 versions of Leonardo across 2 sets. But it suffers because then even the backdrop of New York, which feels a lot more palatable in this set, you're already kind of tired of the same high-rise buildings because you've already had this oversaturated, overstaying its welcome too long set in Spider-Man that never should have even been a big set to take the equity. So I feel it really did do a disservice. And whether or not that holds the set from being successful back or not, I'm not sure, because I think it's just getting the same treatment of being, hey, it's another one of those sets that I want to ignore, when there are actually quite a few things in here that I quite enjoy and quite like.
Yeah, I think it's a weird one, man. I think I tried to talk about this a little bit when we spoke about Avatar and how I couldn't decide, and maybe I was like, I think people heard me pass it out on the podcast when I made a statement and then backtracked almost immediately. The balance between is the game able to explore the themes of the show through a game, or is the game trying to like break its back, trying to make the show palatable in a card format? Like, which way round does it go, and is that any different to how sets are made usually? And I think we actually kind of came to the conclusion that it's probably actually very similar design process when you're like, you have an idea, then you want to make cards that express that idea. You have a show or an IP, you want cards that express that IP. But I think the problem is with something like Turtles, this is where it is one of its great strengths and its greatest weaknesses. I think as a world, as an IP, even outside of Magic, one of its great strengths is that because it's been going for like 40, 50 years, through tons of different media. The video games are just as important to some people as the comic books. The comic books are just as important as the TV shows. The TV shows, the films. The toys have a whole fandom of their own for people who don't give a fuck about any of the media, right? Sure. And with that, there are so many add-ons and additions and new laws and characters and fucking rah, 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 right? But that does mean that whilst you have this really rich, vibrant lore to pull on to do a whole set, which you can do lots of different stuff with, as opposed to, say, a finite TV show of 3 seasons that were really just one big extended story, it does mean you get points where you're like, I have no idea who this big sister yellow banded turtle is. I don't know who she is because I'm not part of the Turtles world. And what Magic does...
Jenica.
Do you know what I mean? Can't even remember
the
her name.
Is ridiculous.
But like, the Magic the Gathering doesn't have that problem in the same way, because as much as maybe newer players go, well, I don't really know who Jace is or what Emrakul is, all of that information is in the world of Magic the Gathering and in the cards. Whereas this is stuff, you have to have knowledge of stuff outside the game that doesn't get explained in the game.
True.
So I think this is a real good example of like a push-pull of like, we've got an IP that has got a bunch of lore and we can do a bunch of shit with, but no one knows what the fuck is going on because we only know who the 4 turtles are.
Yeah, I guess I have two thoughts on that, and that's sometimes some of the set needs to be boring, and the fact that Avatar was able to have a bunch of commons and uncommons that didn't feel like they were taking the spotlight and just kind of just sat as the world of Avatar, because there wasn't all of these different other media versions of the show that you need to pull from to make the set or feel like you're doing it justice if you're only going to touch on it once. As you say, it's a limited series. So you can actually have enough cards that just feel like generic people from that world, and that makes that set feel lived in more and more engaging with, or engageable, than having a set like the Turtles where you have, I think, something silly like 76 legends, which is like almost half the entire set is a random legendary creature. And like, if you don't know that character, there's almost like it's a really vibrant card, but it's not a card that you recognize. And if you have too many of these really vibrant, bright things, it starts to become a little bit chaotic. It starts to become a little bit too much, of where everything feels really intense and really oversaturated, because it's not necessarily run-of-the-mill normal, like just a random creature. It's like, oh, here's another legend, and then here's them when they're together, and then here's another version of them for a different time. And like in the Avatar set, you could even see the progression of the characters throughout their cards, and see like, oh, this is the storyline of the Katara, or this is the storyline of Zuko. With this, it's like, I don't even know what time, as like a non-invested Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, I don't know necessarily if this Michelangelo or this Michelangelo, like which one it's supposed to represent. Is it from this specific series where he's a slightly different psyche, or... Yeah,
this is a really interesting thing. So like, this is kind of I feel like this is weirdly taking Magic back to a place it was in the early 90s. So if you take one of my favourite sets of all time to reference, Ice Age, and you look at, say, like the art design and the tonal design of the set as a whole, this is kind of before they really honed in on like, no, we want each of these sets to feel like a coherent thing. And you have like, my favourite pulls are like things like Goblin Snowman, right?
Yeah. Compared
to some of the like Phyrexian cards in that set, or like some of the like really horrible artifact creatures, where the art direction is just whatever, because they were just paying artists just to do standalone works. And then the art director might pull in things that I want everything to have like a snow theme because it's Ice Age. And, that's about as much as the art direction went, to be a bit blunt about it. So you ended up with these kind of very eclectic looking sets with no real sort of narrative, versus, say, if we just like pick like Origins era, or like, sort of Return to Ravnica era, where everything had to look like it's part of the same world, maybe even like sort of coherent art styles, give or take one or two like outside the box cards. And that's kind of been loosened and tightened over time. But like, this is a set which has to contend with all of the different medias that we spoke about, all of the reboots of the TV show, that they don't even just change the art style, they even change like the kind of Bible for the characters. So like if you look at Raphael, for example, is a really good example. He went from being like all the turtles looked the same, they had the same body type, they had different characters, but the only thing that was really different was the colour of their bands, right?
Yeah.
And the weapons.
And obviously the weapons.
And that was the whole aesthetic. They were 4 identical turtles. And in the comic books, they didn't even have different coloured eye masks. It was just they were the 4 turtles and they had different weapons. In more modern iterations, Raph is like gone from being this kind of slightly more aggressive one to being like literally like the bruiser of the group. Like he's physically bigger than the other guys.
Big, yeah.
He's got a different mask on. Like he's got like a whole head wrap kind of thing. And it's in looking at his cards just kind of gets my point. You can tell they've got the different art styles. You can tell they're all from different times and like different storylines that were probably in all the different TV shows. Again, I'm not hugely up on it, but they have kept things like all of his art direction has his arm, like his arm braces, and all of his masks are the sort of full half, like the half head, like full top wrap kind of thing.
Yeah, it always goes all the way around your arm.
And so they've kind of I think to give it its credit in a weird way, I'm weirdly being positive about this. There, the art direction has clearly gone. We need to tackle this, and we can't just have 5,000 different Spider-Men. How do we do this?
Yeah. So is it something to be said that the reason why the Spider-Man thing was so egregious is because they were all called Spider-Man? Because each one did have its own identity, and it's funny because here, they've all actually got the exact same name, Raphael, but like all of the cards look individually different, despite the fact they are being the same character. Whereas for Spider-Man, it was and so many more of the same name, but they're all being different people, and then also which are then obviously vastly different characters. So then it did it kind of like
I think Spider-Man as an IP takes itself inherently more seriously than Turtles does.
Yeah, for sure.
Ironically, because Spider-Man's probably one of the more kind of happy-go-lucky characters in Marvel's sort of canon, right? Especially with all the multiverse stuff. But I think the problem is by having a set where it's like, here's all of the Spider people. You go, sick. I don't care about all this. It's what we said about, like, it's what I said to you last time when we were talking about Spider-Man. I don't really care about Peter Parker from Earth 2525.
Yeah, true.
I only care about 616 Parker. This is the same Raphael. They're not trying to say they're all different Raphs. It's Raphael as a character seen through different medias and interpretations.
Yeah, but
this is what he looks like in Magic.
Yeah, and he's always still playing the same role. And like, even then, I guess within that, you have moments of his character where you have, Raph and Shredder?
Yeah.
Of where, there was a time where...
Well, you have Dark Leo as well. So they've clearly done, like, different...
No, that's it. Yeah, sorry, Dark Leo is what I meant. Sorry, my apologies.
I mean, you then have... I mean, don't get me wrong. They've definitely played with it. I mean, the most famous iteration that even I know of is the Ronin story arc, where I'm not going to spoil who Ronin is, but there's one turtle that's left after all the other turtles have been killed. And they don't say who it is until, like, the very last book. And it's kind of like a revenge story of like this lone turtle basically taking on the futuristic Foot Clan and like murdering them all.
Which is a saga within the set as well.
Yeah. So they're clearly picking like the big hitters whilst also then packing the set out with like, the fucking... Where are they? I just saw... the Putrid Pals and like Punk Frogs. So I'm like, I have no idea who these fucking people are.
Ray Follett, Mad Ray.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
who fucking knows?
I mean, one thing I do like. So one of the things I will say that I love about, and I mentioned it earlier. I'd love to live in this version of New York. Is that the everything that's weird and wonderful in the set. Even so, I think my overarching opinion is this is a really good set, but it is just a lot and very much a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So if you're not into that, you're not going to like this set. It's what I think. But if you like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you're really going to enjoy it because it is a lot of what it is. But once you move beyond how intense it is as a set, like there are so many things you just look at and you go, that's so weird. And you go, yeah, but the ooze just mutates things.
I mean, obviously,
it's like okay, maybe it's cool to see a fish ray. Yeah. Maybe it's good to see someone who's a dinosaur. Maybe it's cool to see someone who's a rhino. Like why not?
I think it's also fair to say there have been some universes beyond where if you don't like it, people just go, oh, it's because you just don't like the IP for what and it's the IP specifically because of. You don't like the TV show. You didn't like David Tennant on a fucking...
I don't like wizards. Why would I invest in the Harry Potter set?
Yeah. Please don't do a Harry Potter set.
They're going to.
No, they're not.
It's happening.
No. It's just such a hot potato.
I know. That's why they can't help it. They keep looking over and go, ooh, delicious hot potato.
Even Harry Potter fans would rather it was just left
absolutely,
alone.
100%.
Just leave it alone.
100%.
Do you know? Anyway, what my point is that because the Turtles is so wrapped up in that late 80s, early 90s, radical,
Teenage Mutant and Biker Mice from Mars kind of stuff.
Yeah, well,
right?
I mean, Biker Mice and Mars, Street Sharks, they're all just fucking...
They all come from the same...
It's all turtles, right? But what I'm saying, it's that kind of weird, gross out, like, you know, toxic sludge. Like, you know, it's all those boy adverts from, like, the early 90s where it's like, crazy radioactive sludge monster. Like, you know, it's all that kind of shit, right? I had all of that.
Mutagen Man, living ooze.
And if you're not into that, this whole set it's not even because it's turtles. It's just like,
there is
just
so much goo in this set. There's lots of ooze goo. There's lots of
Max.
cheese
Do you remember
goo.
Mighty Max?
Yeah, I remember Mighty Max.
I had a ton of them. Polly Pocket for boys. When gender was so fucking important in the 90s.
And when choking hazards weren't really considered that much of an important thing.
Before we get into individual cards, there is another theme. There's a thematic theme, to be specific, as opposed to like a mechanical one.
Yeah.
Pizza.
There is lots of food. I just have this category food.
Pizza.
Food! Lots of food.
Tell me about the food in this set, man.
There are 6 different types of pizza apparently all in here, which apparently is a thing because they used to... And this is one of those like... I don't really care. It's cute if you like that thing. But they always come up with like weird, wacky combinations of pizza, right? And so there are like guaca marshmallow. There's like an anchovy one, which I think anchovy is quite delicious.
But not the way that they put it on that. It's like
no.
a fish head.
And then there's, I guess, the epitome of what makes the set kind of weird and weirdly pushed in this regard is Pizza Face.
Yeah.
Gastromancer.
Yeah.
Like, we already have some legendary foodie guys, some chefs.
Yeah, well...
But this one's real ill.
I will always remember... I can't remember what set it was. After saying I remember, I can't remember. But I remember the sentiment. I can't remember. Was it after the last Strixhaven? I think it was the last time we went to Strixhaven. And we said something along the lines of... Because we were talking about how, like, the Prismaria theatre students, right? Mm-hmm. And we were thinking, well, how will Wizards of the Coast start to express like magic in like everyday jobs? And like that, but like because we got Guillaume, who was like in the Queen Black one,
and then right?
Esmeralda Mardica Dice Recording Club.
Thank you, yeah.
And then we've had like Bernard, but like after that sex, we went, oh look at Guillaume, he's a chef. That's cool, magical Prismaria Theatre Students. And then there's been like 100 chefs. Yeah, it's like fucking one of them's been a lobster.
But this guy's like also food himself.
Oh, he's like a pizza. Yeah,
Pizza Face. Like, and there is a degree of like. It's almost like they were like, oh, if we could just make gore cheese-coloured and we can get away with making things really macabre. Like, some of the secret layers are like a rehash of... what's the card where it's like makeshift... he's got like pizza boxes. The Commander's Plate. The one from the secret layer. It's literally just covered in pizza boxes and there's goo everywhere. And there's another one with a circular saw coming out and it's cheese, so it's fine. It's basically...
Well, they have done this before, though, in a mainline set recently as well. If you go to Wilds of Eldraine... with the, like, minstrosity...
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So it's fine. As long as it's not red and not a human, we can make anything as gory as we like.
But... this set is really confusing me, because on the face of it, I just want to be able to go, nah, it's fucking shit. But, like, they have done this before in a mainline set, and I and many other people went, wonderful!
Yeah.
They've really taken the theme of the set and made it really cool. And, like, you know, they've done this kind of candy cane zombie thing. Sick. So why is this any different? And I'll tell you why. Here's my theory. And it's to do with the lands, the full art lands.
Good, I'm glad that's what we're going to go to next.
Now, for those of you that don't know what I look like, or wouldn't know if they, you know, wouldn't piss on me if I was on fire in the street because I look like such a hoodlum.
God, I'd piss on you any day of the week.
Oh, thank you. I'll take it as a compliment. I have a pizza slice tattoo.
Yes.
Right? I've spoken about my tattoos before. I'm such a fucking millennial bitch. Like I've got my Smaug dragon tattoo.
It looks the most like the mountain.
It does, yeah. It's like, and I because like pizza's my favorite food. I love kind of ska punk skater aesthetic, which is again this whole fucking set, and I love. So I want to marry.
Yeah, I mean there was literally skateboard.
Do you know what I mean? This whole set should be just me, and it just again I can't get over you. Anyway, the thing with the pizzas is. If this was an unset, and we all know I also fucking despise unsets. Apparently I don't like playing Magic the Gathering. I don't like unsets, right? However, the lands and unsets have always been a bit of a banger. Because they are different, and even if they've got a silly theme like...
Well, they are the original full arts, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
These pizza lands, I would swear down to you now, I would have 100% been like, they're dumb, I fucking love them though, because they're themed to the thing I like, and also whatever, it's pizza. The thing that ruins them for me is the fact that they've got the damn turtle hands in each one of them.
I'm looking at it now and it's impossible to ignore once you start looking at it.
They stop being just these dumb pizza things and become like, oh, you're playing with the Ninja Turtles lands then. I'm like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
It really does ruin it for me. And I think that's the difference. This is not Magic, it's just not Magic the Gathering.
Well, I agree. A little silly aside though, which of them achieves the symbol most flawlessly in your opinion? If you had to
I
choose?
quite like the planes.
See, but that for me, that's the one that looks the least like
Oh,
legitimate.
So we just disagree then.
Well, it's not. It's not that. It's more that the thing I like about the broccoli is that
good.
It does,
broccoli's good. Yeah.
you don't have to change it. It's not like it's trying really hard. Like there's something to be said for the swamp because the mushroom does look like that, and they've just taken a little bit of artistic license. But it's almost too much. Like it looks too much like a skull. They could have alluded a little less, and it would have been fine. But I guess there's a degree of like the mana symbol has to look really like the mana symbol. Which in that case, sorry, the island isn't blue; it's purple, which is unacceptable.
Yeah. Do you know what? Having just reviewed them, because I think I actually said that off the top of my own mind's eyeing it. It's because in my head I was like, well, it's like a big swirly piece of cheese or whatever else.
But it wasn't.
Actually, having a look at it, I think you're right the first time. I think they're all great, except for maybe the planes.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
Because it's the one that looks the least...
worst one.
It's a bit overwrought.
I take it back. The forest is the best one. I think the mountain's pretty good.
The mountain... Yeah, the only problem with the mountain is I'm like, is that pepperoni? It's again, I feel like the mountain and the
That's
swamp...
like melted tomato, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like the swamp and the mountain are a little overtuned. I feel like you probably could have got away with it a little more. But maybe, again, there's like a certain requirement for it looking exactly like the mana symbol. Who knows?
I just really didn't need their fucking hands in it. I don't know why. We get it. Turtles. It's Ninja Turtles, fine.
Yeah, exactly. Just give us the pizza. And we're saying that since we're on the other lands, the silhouettes of the 4 ninjas jumping across rooftops.
Fine.
Fucking gorge.
Yeah,
Big fan. Big
fine,
fan.
fine is in theming wise. Like,
also, the cities, right? So I think you'd also. I mean, like the mountain would look really good in a what they called your Ziatora deck. What they called
what are you trying to say?
the new Capenna
Art Deco.
Yeah, no, the Juns. Like, what were they called?
Oh. They are called the
Riveters. The Riveters, that's it, yeah.
Riveteers.
So that would look at a really good Riveters deck, even though it's ninjas.
Christ alive. Do you know, whenever any content creators, and there's a couple that really come at this point every time, go, can you name all 10 racing teams from fucking Ether Drift, or can you name all of this, that, and the other? I always sort of go, if you gave me half a minute, yeah. But also, no, they're not going to be as famous as the Ravnica ones, because they're just never going to be.
Yeah. My brain isn't an encyclopedia. Like,
but I always do go like, that could name if given half the chance. I really had to grab for Riveteers just then. It's a shame.
Yeah, but sometimes your brain's like you're thinking about something else. Plus, you've had a cluster headache today. It's okay. It's fine.
I've been in training since 8 a.m. this morning. It is now 8 p.m.
Exactly. So you've got good excuses, right? So let's talk about some absolutely brand new mechanics that are absolutely brand new and not completely just a riff on something else. Sneak. They fixed ninjutsu like they keep fixing every mechanic. Yeah, your old Cascade, that was terrible. Here's Discover.
His new Cascade that's better.
Yeah, and that old ninjutsu that was really confusing with its timing things, even though it made for really fun interactions. Nah, forget about that. Let's make it work as intended. But now it can be on non-creatures.
See, I hate that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like it.
See, I like the idea of the one word that makes me like it, technique. Now, we love a technique on Magic the Flavouring. We like it when spells are tied to the characters, and if it's like a ninja technique, it makes sense it would happen during combat.
Yeah.
I wish there was a smoke bomb one, because that'd be the perfect one, because you do the bomb, and then you disappear, which is the sneak back to hand.
Is the ability is still called
It's
sneak?
literally just return an unblocked creature you control, but it has to be during the declare blocker step.
Couldn't they... This is the corner that Magic paints itself into. It's not even a critique, because how else are they meant to do it? But this is now, we're starting to see a game that is 20, 30 years old.
Yeah.
Painting themselves really into a corner when they've just gone, we've already used that mechanic on something else, even though it'd be way better. Because this would just be called ninjutsu. And
it should be, but the problem is that they made the ability just that little bit too awkward. Same with Mayhem versus Madness. You know, Madness is the perfect mechanic, but because of timing restrictions and how confusing it can be for new players, let's just trim it down a little bit, make it a bit more grokkable.
But so here's my question then. If we put aside the idea that they have to have new mechanics for each set, because that's how Magic works or whatever, do you reckon there's a world where they could have UB sets and they just go, look everyone, to make this set feel like Magic, we're just going to use old mechanics, and then maybe put in like the keyword stuff that they did for like Forgotten Realms.
Yeah.
And B, they've had mechanics where it's been like only on a creature or whatever before, that they've then been like, this is now going on to other card types, and it's been fine. I am thinking of things like Madness. Couldn't they have just done ninjutsu and put them on spells and sorcery? Like,
I guess maybe is there a line in ninjutsu where it says you may cast this creature, like in the Oracle text or something like that?
They can errata things. Though.
Yeah, I know. But then the problem is they always want the cards to explain the cards, right? But then there's also a similar thing in Disappear is in the set. That's the other mechanic. There's only two mechanics that are new: Sneak and Disappear. Disappear is a revolt. It's just revolt.
Yeah.
But revolt was too tied in to be like politically charged, I guess, with the whole, overthrowing the what were they called on Avishkar? What was it called? The consulate. Thank you. So maybe that's a little bit too politically charged. So for Disappear instead, the idea of you disappear down back into the sewers. That feels very thin. I feel like it didn't need another keyword for that. But sure. I guess it also is maybe it's another way of like you've renamed the mechanic and then you'll use Disappear in the future because it's so agnostic compared to Sneak. I guess Sneak is also more agnostic compared to Ninjutsu because you want to have an ability that feels like it does something during combat, but you don't want it to feel like it's ninjas. So
here's why I feel like again even the name Sneak is a bit weird. When have the Ninja Turtles snuck around anywhere? Their whole deal is that they're these giant fucking turtles that like beatbox their way through the hand clan.
Yeah, well, there's two halves to this, right? There's the fact that ninjas are super sneaky, and then there's the New York is on fire because dinosaurs came down from space. Like there's a real like whatever across the board. It's whatever it needs to be, and they try. I do think they try to take this idea that they are like very well trained warriors, like, and they take themselves very seriously. I think that's very prevalent here as well. So
here we go, ninjutsu. Ninjutsu cost. Reveal this card from your hand. Return an unblocked attacking creature you control to its owner's hand. Put this card onto the battlefield from your hand tapped and attacking.
That's why you're not casting it, you are putting it into play tapped and attacking. Yeah. And the other thing that's annoying, right, is that you've got... So you built me a Secret Santa deck, Gorogoro and Satoru.
Yeah.
Wonderful, zing, in and out, ninja-y stuff.
I'm jealous. I wanted to build it for myself.
It's my favourite thing to do with Secret Santas is build a deck you really want for yourself and then give it away for FOMO and build it for yourself later anyway.
I might build a worse version and just do the mono red Gorogoro.
Also very valid. And you've got more cards to do with this new set
great.
now.
More cards I'm not going to use.
So this is the thing, right? So you're typically quite against UB, and one of the first cards that I thought of about putting into the deck was Shadow the Hedgehog, just as a joke. And it did end up going in the deck anyway, but now recently I've ended up putting in Spider Sense because web slinging works almost the same as ninjutsu.
Didn't you counter something I was doing with a Spider Sense?
I put in that very
deck that I didn't know you'd put in, and I was like, "Oh, wicked! Nathan's going to play the Gorogoro deck against me. Even if I lose, it's like I built that deck, and the card that fucked me was one that you put in, and it was a UB card. I know. Hated it.
And the worst thing is, like, half this set. I mean, I'm kind of glad that they pushed ninjas across all 5 colours because otherwise I'd have a big issue of like what I take out. But there are definitely cards from the set that have gone into the deck. Raphael's technique is a fucking win of fortune for ninjas. Like, of course I'm putting it into deck. But it's funny that since you've built that deck, and you'd think it's very ninja focused, you doesn't have to worry. You've had 2 sets.
Kamigawa.
2 sets back to back that have had like actual influxes of to bastardize, this pure creature.
Was another one as well?
Yeah, so I also put in Full Throttle because I couldn't help getting flat chested Chandra with loot on put that in as well.
Oh my god.
Do you know that's one of the most controversial aspects of that card is people are like, yeah, but where have the boobs gone? It's like, why does it matter? Focus on the weird Pikachu thing that's on the card instead. That's what's wrong with the game.
I'll tell you what's wrong with the game. It's the people who have that fucking observation.
Yeah.
If that was your first look at that card, stop listening to this podcast.
Please go away.
Go away.
Cool. So let's talk about some specifics. Classes have made a return.
Yeah.
And this was a little controversial as well because you've got Cool But Rude, Does Machines, Party Dude, Leader's Talent.
Well, they're very thematic to Ninja Turtles. You
like,
can't say they're not.
The whole point is like all of the song is like he leads, so it should just be leads. But you've got Leader's Talent, and then you've got with the really weird things like Does Machines as a card name. Dude, come on, something there is not okay.
But okay. So here's all right. Maybe I wasn't done pontificating on Universes Beyond. Again, going back to the what leads the design, the fucking game or the IP. If you're a card namer or like the people who work on like I swear when we first started this podcast, I was able to allocate these words much better. When you are someone who does the narrative and the kind of the copy for these cards, right? And they're like, good news, Andy. We're going to give you narrative lead on one of these sets. I'm like, boy, oh boy, what's it going to be? Return to Ikoria that I've been looking for? Like, no, it's Ninja Turtles. So you got to make sure that these fucking names feel like they fit in the world of Ninja Turtles. how am I not going to do cards like Radical?
Yeah,
Cowabunga Dude. Of course I'm going to fucking do that
Yeah.
shit. And then they're going to get put out into the world. And people like us are going to go, what a dickhead.
No, but I like the party dude. I like the does machines. It's weird because it's part of the song, but then it should just be leads. just commit to it. Anyway,
But
whatever.
It's
Whatever. I like classes.
two different
I like the
classes are fine. I like.
But that's the funny thing is like the class is to be cool but rude. The class is to do machines. Like that's just funny, you know. But they just have leaders' talent. I'm like, don't make it fit the convention. Come on. But then also not fit the convention. Transdimensional bovine.
Yeah.
there's a character in this which is a robotic cowhead that can eat you up and transport you to other dimensions.
Here's another weird push-pull with this set.
What the fuck, man?
Here's another weird push-pull to this set. Because this is a set that doesn't take itself inherently that seriously, and because there are genuine fantastical elements in it, you could sort of be like, yeah, sure, this is like, say if Ninja Turtles didn't exist in our world, and this was a set that the MTG designers actually made, you wouldn't necessarily be like, what the fuck are they doing? You'd be like, oh, this is like a weird, wacky sort of everything plane or whatever. It's like, it's fucking Chandelier. The problem is that you do have design elements that were not initially created. All of them were not initially created by the MTG Wizards of the Coast team. So you don't have that authorship in the same way. And when you have something like Avatar, for example, or Final Fantasy, right, which also have like-minded narrative teams that are trying to achieve fantastical worlds with like really tight cultural references and X, Y, and Z, that sort of gets smoothed out. The problem starts when you have IPs like Ninja Turtles, because there is no narrative authorship really, because it's like a 40-year-old IP that has had so many different things, and the only narrative coherency that people get given in these situations is like, make sure they skateboard and that they are ninjas.
Yeah.
And like, that's all that people give a shit about.
Yeah.
So that's why it doesn't feel coherent, right?
It's kind of
not.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's kind of, and this is what I meant earlier when I said that everything is so vibrant, it's oversaturated, because you've even got like, so you'd think it's weird enough that you've got these mutants and then it's ninjas, okay, cool, but then you've also got this massive like alien thing going on, and then there's also this time travel thing, and it's not
they
just
do everything, they go everywhere.
Yeah, and they do and that's the thing is, it's fine when, and I think it sounds like I'm being critical because I guess I am to begin with, but the reality is that because that is true to what the Turtles are and what they stood for as a media, you know, as a media franchise, it kind of works because there's no individual thing that I can look at too long and go like, yeah, you know what, of course, Turtles. You know, there's no one thing that sticks out so much that apart from like, I guess maybe when you start getting to like the pizzas and it's just like another version of the food, and I'm like, all of these have. That's
what I prefer more about this IP. I like the New York pizza thing.
Yeah, I don't mind it so much. I think it's more that you have like the Omni cheese pizza and the everything pizza, and then you've got the guac and marshmallow pizza, and it's like, yeah, cool, I get it. There's a million types of pizza. I just beyond that, I think everything else is very much like it kind of invites you into the world a little bit more because you kind of want to know where all these weird wind avatars that are just various different things. Yeah. You know, like what is that? I want to know. The transdimensional bovine. I want to know. You know. And yet also the fact that, did I remember that years ago that series that Shredder was actually just a fucking alien? Oh yeah, right, it's right there. Yeah, cool. Okay, good. I wasn't going crazy.
Okay, here's another bit of magic philosophy for you concerning around UB. Now, there are certain IPs that they've done which are very nakedly, and this isn't me trying to like shit on them. It's like almost like a memed convention of some of these things where it's like, the TV show or the media that we all consumed as millennials and younger Gen X's was the extended advert for you to buy the toys to put money into the hands of Hasbro or Nickelodeon or whoever else owned the fucking thing, right? Yeah. So I'm thinking...
Toys were actually the big thing, yeah.
The toys were the thing because that was the
sell
markup,
episodes, right?
And then the episodes was the thing that pulled you in. So Ninja Turtles is maybe one. If you don't count the comic book was maybe like the kind of high art source material, and then immediately it became about toys and cartoons. You then have something like Transformers is another one.
Yeah, I was going to say Power Rangers.
Power Rangers, another, which they haven't done a Magic the Gathering Power Rangers, but like it's only a matter of time. All these things.
I can't wait for 15 Red Rangers.
Yeah, quite. And they'll all be in the set, and you'll have 2 of each one, because you'll have their human form and their Power Ranger form.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. So my point is that is a thing that exists and we're all totally fine with it, and it's like, yeah, that's just kind of the economy of this, right? And a lot of people have described to me in the past, some more cynically than others, that basically the story that we all buy into for Magic the Gathering is that extended advert to pull in people like you and me, well, maybe more me than you, because we've discovered you're a male, into buying the packs. Because it's like, I like the pretty goblins and the fact that, you know, there's like a fire mage and a mind mage, and there's this game as well. To put it really like bluntly, obviously we're both gamers as well. So like the story doesn't actually matter and they can do whatever the fuck they want because it's the cards that sell, right? So what do we do then when we have an IP that is so explicitly about selling toys? You are now wanting to buy into a universe that only exists for you to sell and buy the toys of that universe. Magic's not getting anything back from it. It's not, say, like Doctor Who, for example, where I know a lot of people who didn't watch or like Doctor Who. I actively am not into Doctor Who, so it didn't necessarily wash with me. But some people who did know about it are like, oh, this whole other sci-fi thing. And they can go and engage with that art. But that art's not asking anything from them back. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
It kind of creates this like sort of community of like fantasy and sci-fi media. Whereas this is like, I want to know more about this throwaway storyline that only existed for me to buy the toy of that dinosaur. Yeah. We're in this kind of weird death spiral. I don't know, man.
See, I think if anything, it makes me feel like it puts more legitimacy into the other things, right? Because now I might go back and actually watch the cartoon because I'm interested to see all these wacky little things. Where before I was only watching it because it happened to be on at Saturday at 6 o'clock, or you know, when you got home from school or whatever.
Yeah.
I do want to make one. I do want to talk a little about it, I guess. So I guess it's interesting, yeah. When you say about how because I'm a male, like the story side of it might not necessarily pull me in. The funny thing is because they have to kind of make everything else stand out mechanically from each other. The male side of me actually has a lot to pick into here.
Yeah,
like the fact that, like,
I'm not saying, hey man, I'm not saying it's a cuss. We're both
no, I know, of course. But what I'm saying is it's interesting that there is the side of it from the story that makes me go, that's cool and interesting. I'm kind of curious, but then also because you've had to kind of diversify and make all of these different, even like the team ups between all the different turtles. Individually, I don't mind them. When you have them all side by side, it's just turtles. And I know that there's supposed to be a turtle in every pack, but then that's kind of a bit boring, right? Because then it's a turtle in every pack. Yeah. Which, again, had they not changed all the colours and everything of them, they would just be the same turtle over and over and over again. There wouldn't be any differences between them. And when you have them all like that, it's just turtles. It's just a bunch of turtles. But yeah, each individual one does feel like its own individual expression. But also, so in Mario Party, one of my favourite things used to be is to play the hockey side game, the sub game. And each time you put two characters in, it would change the name of the team based on the two characters that are in that. And I kind of like that they've done that here, with where, depending on which ones you put together, kind of similar to the Commander deck, right, where it's player select. And that's very much focused on the game side of things. Which
is cool.
I think it's super rad.
That's very good. Like, what I will say is, as a experiment, and how do we tackle something that is so multimedia? Like, because even the Marvel stuff, everyone's like, it's Marvel Comics, it's MCU, and the games kind of filter around that. Like, this is truly a completely multimedia franchise. If they ever did Pokemon, which obviously they won't because Pokemon, but Wizards of the Coast and the Pokemon Company aren't exactly on good terms when it comes to TCG stuff, right? But like, Pokemon is a truly transmedia franchise, right? And so, like, yes, Turtles are definitely that. And I think the Tijuana Rex are a really good example.
See, I think they did a really good job of going, cool, we're going to catch just this specific sphere and then just push it all together. And this idea that you can choose different partners or different commanders based on the characters you choose. And then it felt a little bit like this here, of where you got to do your team up, team, and you get to like pick and choose. So each one does something quite cool and individual. And again, the mechanical side of things is because there's a shitload of legends in this set, 76 or something, whatever, as I said before. There are a lot of legends that have really cool abilities, and the intensity of those abilities does naturally mean that, okay, cool, I'm going to want to put these in something somewhere because they do something radical and something individual. I do feel like some of the other team-ups are a little bit wasted.
Why? Like, but also, again, why? I get that super fans of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle franchise are going to go, I really love that they put that niche character in there. And maybe, look, to be kind of like a bit less up my own arse, maybe that is enough for them to put them in the set. I do sort of feel like when Cardstock's at a premium, and that they've done a couple of skin cards in this, where they've done like the card itself, and then they put like the other name in the I cannot remember for life.
Yeah.
They could have done
the Godzilla
so
effect.
many of those and been like, look, if you like this card, here it is in Turtles World. I think people would have been fine with that. The problem with the team ups that I have from a card equity standpoint and from a narrative like kind of Orthos standpoint is that when we kind of really explored this in only recently in March of the Machines, right? No, which one? We do this every time.
Aftermath.
Was it Aftermath that did all the team ups?
Yeah, because it's one with the sword, no? Let me quickly check.
When they did like Inga and Essica, and they did Hidetsugu,
Drana and
all that kind of stuff.
Can't remember her
The
name.
Angel.
The Angel. Exactly.
Iona? Emeria?
It's not Iona.
It's
It's definitely not Emeria. Emeria was Emrakul, but not.
Katrina? Matrina.
Stop.
Anyway, those team ups were something that was like, we've seen these characters here, and we understand their. Thank you. Yeah. we understand their maybe their rivalries or their dynamics, and now this is them on a card, and the card matches up. And it felt like for a set that was a bit like whatever. Otherwise, at least I think actually it's had a bit of a renaissance with Commander players specifically because we're going, oh sick. I've always liked these two legends, and now I get one that kind of does both, and it's sort of like a play, like Gorogoro and Satoru.
Yeah,
but
I could imagine
earned that. This is just in the same set, man.
See, I could imagine that's the other thing is it's just another version of and this is where the turtle in every pack kind of ruined it because you've got a turtle at one of each of them at mythic, rare, uncommon, common, and then you've also got the team up cards, and that's not including the two versions of each that you've also then got in the commander set. I wouldn't even mind, say, an extended secret lair of where it's like Marvel versus Capcom or whatever, and then you have every combination is possible, and you just happen to get 5 out of the 30 options, like a jumpstart kind of thing. That would be quite cool. And we're kind of getting I know.
Could you imagine the markup on that?
Yeah,
people
right.
Trying to get all of them.
Yeah, of course, it's Wizards. That's a really good way to make money. Do it. Why not?
now we're doing blind box secret lairs. Holy shit.
Yeah, well, I don't think they actively can't do that because they already have to get around the fact that it's not gambling when you're buying packs, even though it's essentially the same as loot boxes.
Yeah.
I've only got a couple of other things. One thing that I thought was funny is the card Grounded for Life is a white removal spell where it destroys target creature, the implication being that when Splinter grounds the turtles, he's killing them. Exile, it's in white. It denotes the idea of being grounded better, maybe even stun counter, I don't know, but the fact you destroy the creature, it's a little bit of a flavour fail there, I think.
Grounded for Life in a vacuum, the name of that card also sounds maybe it's like a humble brag, bro, I'm grounded for life.
Yeah. It's no, you're not, you're in the graveyard, shut up. And then the other one that I have is Frog Butler, which is essentially a functional reprint of Poison Dart Frog. And this guy, as much as the Frog Butler is quite cute, he ain't no Poison Dart Frog, buddy. That's my favourite friend. So good luck, jog on. Have you got any other flavour highlights that jumped out at you? Any
highlights? Come on, don't push it now. I've already been talking about how the set maybe isn't a complete bin fire from
true.
You did the thing and you did it well standpoint, because this is the thing, right? Not to just shit on Spider-Man and drive by. They didn't do Spider-Man well. And this is when we were talking about...
Yeah, but Spider-Man would have been fine had it not been extrapolated into a standard set.
But didn't we... There were several cards that we sort of spoke about the idea of Spider-Man and who he is as a character.
Yeah, they completely butchered it.
Whereas, you guys don't seem to know who Spider-Man is, right? With just, the way that they express those cards. I can't even...
I mean, does Spider-Man had a significant more depth as well as a single character compared to any of the Turtles, right? Leo, you could argue, Raphael, they also that the two of those have had their own journeys and arcs and things like that. But realistically, this isn't a very deep lore kind of. Media, right?
Well, I think the exact problem of it is that we're trying to say, I think, is that there's a lot of lore and none of it really matters.
Yeah.
So it's all
spaghetti
flash.
thrown at the wall kind of situation.
But I think the people who got this set, what I will give to this set, as much as I don't think it's been well received as just an IP in general for Magic, I don't think it's been well received as a coherent set to play, which are the two things that really should just be the things you hit as a Magic set.
Yeah, as a limited set, this feels a lot messier.
However, and I say this
Avatar
as a non-Turtles fan, as much as we previously discussed, they've been with us since the day we were born, so we know stuff from osmosis without really fully engaging with it.
Yeah.
I do feel like they got it. The people who made the set understood what the Turtles are and went, yeah, that's this set. And maybe the result is if you go, yeah, they did a turtle set really well. It was a bad Magic set. Like, maybe that's fine.
Yeah. So I guess, so that's a really good point. Like, this is a Magic standard set, a bit messy all over the place. Does this use Magic the Gathering as a way to capture Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles well as a Magic set? Yes.
Yeah. Well enough.
Yeah, exactly.
More well than I would ever give a fuck about the Ninja Turtles.
But it still sticks out like a sore thumb, and I feel like it sticks out worse than Spider-Man. But if anything, I like it more than I did Spider-Man. You know, I don't know why. There's something about this that just feels even more alien. But then, give us 12 months and a few other, visits around the human Earth fucking multiverse, and maybe I might not be so. Maybe I might look back and go, God, remember when it was good? Remember we had the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Do you think there's going to be a viable sort of constructed format? You know how we're doing sort of like pre-modern now these days?
They already have it. It's called Planar or something like that.
Where it's just UV cards.
No, opposite. It's just UW.
No, I'm talking about the other way. Do you reckon we're going to get to a point...
You could have a Universes Beyond format.
Where you have coherent Universes Beyond format only.
I think you're already there. I think because you've got Marvel coming out this year already, you've already got 3 sets that all work within the New York thing.
No, you're going to get fucking the New York cubes. You're going to get cubes where it's like New York.
And then all you've got to do is add in because I think Avatar was fairly, for lack of a better word, bland. Like the mechanics of it were very easy to play with. I don't think this feels more obnoxious and more specific than Avatar in terms of like the flavour of the individual cards feel way more like they're trying to say this one thing, whereas in Avatar it's like, yeah, it's just a farmer guy. And you're like, cool, fine, that's actually really easy for me to understand. Whereas I've got, Leonardo leader in blue and it does sneak thing and this thing and first strike and it's like, okay, I guess he's a good combat dude or whatever, I don't care.
Should we talk about the giant turtle in the room as cards go?
Sure.
Can we talk about lessons from life?
Yes, absolutely. We can talk about lessons.
Lessons from life, for those of you that blissfully don't know.
It should be lessons in life, right?
It should be in the bin. Lessons from Life is a 4-mana sorcery, 2 green-blue. We actually haven't mentioned any actual card things here. This is the first card I'm describing.
That's fine. We're not a mechanics podcast. We're a flavour podcast.
Draw 3 cards. You may put a land card from your hand onto the play taps, right? So it's like Uber Growth Spiral.
It's Urban Evolution, but technically worse because you're not playing the land, you're putting it into players, so it will come in taps. There's some nuance there, so it's not strictly better, but essentially it is strictly better. Yes.
The flavour text says, everyone's got their own strengths liter. Liter is another turtle.
Yeah.
Have you noticed as well?
An albino turtle.
They've got the big sister yellow turtle, or whatever her name was.
Jenica.
Isn't there? There was a film.
How is it that I actually saw?
You do. Wasn't there another sister turtle who had like a turquoise band with like a yin?
Yeah, like Susie or something weird her name was. Yeah, she was brought up separately. One moment, let me find her.
The rest of the flavour text is, everyone's got their own strengths liter. You never know what cards they may play. Instead, focus on what you know and never doubt your choices. Michelangelo. And the Kevin Siddhartha artwork are the 5 turtles, because you've got, what was her name?
Jenica.
Jakarta's a place. Jenica,
yeah.
And the regular turtles sat around Lita, and Michelangelo and Lita are playing literal...
Actual factual
Magic the Gathering.
Venus.
With actual, Venus. Is it Venus?
Venus. No, that's a built from scraps defined by self. Oh my god, there's so many versions.
They're all
but she looks like she's a
artist, right? So
she's a frog. No, she's a frog turtle.
Oh, I don't know. Anyway, there's like actual like forests and planeswalkers and shit in this artwork. What are we doing?
Yeah, that's a bit too much. I wouldn't mind that if that was just in. So if that was in the Commander set, fine.
Is it?
I think so, because that's specifically about a game. So that's like a fake world where I can see the fake. I can see the fake world self-referencing the world that we live in that plays Magic the Gathering. I could see that as like a joke because the game was man-made by us, right?
I know this sounds like such a split hair, but I do think that the hair, like at some point, the line is crossed, right? Even if it is only fractional. If we had Witcher cards from the books and games franchise,
yeah,
and had Geralt and Yennefer playing Gwent in a Magic card, I'd be like, sure, referencing a real world card game, but it's a thing within the world of whatever. And this is the problem with having these sets, even if they are fantastical versions, being set on ostensibly Earth with New York and cars and fucking phones and shit, is that, yes, it stands to reason that Magic the Gathering exists in the world of the Ninja Turtles. Should Magic the Gathering exist in the world of the Ninja Turtles within the world of Magic the Gathering?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah, that's a bit too much, yeah. Because then at that point it doesn't feel like... But then I guess this is the whole point of Universes Beyond, right? Is that you can kind of get away with doing that and it doesn't feel...
Yes, if it wasn't fucking standard.
Yeah, I guess. But I feel like standard is already... Because there's always something to be said for the fact that we only ever spend one set at any given plane. Sometimes, even though the story arc works because this planeswalker goes from this plane to this plane to this plane, the fact that you have Phyrexia right next to something like, I don't know, like Amonkhet next to something like Kamigawa, and it's like those different cards, if you take the most of that plane version of a card that you can find, those two cards next to each other won't look like they're from the same place anyway. And as you quoted about one of our friends saying about how Magic's always been done, Magic has always been about the clashing of various different worlds all living within the same multiverse anyway. So all we're doing is, the problem is we're adding things in that we can actually recognise as being real world, which disconnects us on a different axis. Whereas I think having these various different things next to each other, as you say, like, can you have a Universes Beyond set or format? And it's like, yeah, but even then, those things are going to be so disparate and even though it's New York, the things that are within New York are going to be so different and feel so weird because we recognise them as being from different franchises. Whereas if an average person looks at a Magic the Gathering Commander game, they might be like, what the hell is this? You've got fairies, and over here you've got dinosaurs, and over here you've got space marines. And okay, the space marines is where it gets weird. But for them, they might not see the difference of, you've got weird soldier dudes with lasers, but you've also got dinosaurs, and you've also got these cute Celtic fairies. And for them, there's already this weird disjointedness before you start going, cool, we've got actual recognisable franchises being at each other.
See, now this is where we start getting into the territory of gatekeeping, isn't it? Because there is a huge majority of my brain that goes, gatekeeping is bad and shouldn't be done, and gatekeepers are basically snobs with a hobby, right? And then, weirdly enough, this came up, I was on LinkedIn today, fucking hell, what my life being on bloody LinkedIn. But there was a colleague of mine from my old life in immersive theatre, who he still works in immersive theatre, and he recently written an article for some sort of like industry website. And he, being very socially liberal, like doors wide open for everyone, absolutely everyone should come and like see the theatre kind of dude. Oh, thank you. The premise of the article was, to be more inclusive for everyone, immersive theatre needs to start being a bit more exclusive. And his reasoning was, this is funny that this article kind of links into this point, is that for immersive theatre, because that's his industry, to be like, we're going to do this thing and we're going to make it as best as we can, and we're going to make sure that we bring this thing to everyone. We needed to shirk as an industry the idea that everything that has any sort of like interaction is now suddenly called immersive. Like the idea of things being an immersive theatre thing is so diluted that it's kind of for no one, because no one gets what they want. Yeah,
because immersive and interactive are two different things.
Yes, and Magic, and it's so funny that I'm starting to feel this way about Magic the Gathering, and I am only just starting to maybe it's I'm articulating it now, where I'm like, to bring people, I want everyone to play Magic the Gathering. But I want everyone to play Magic the Gathering. I don't necessarily want everyone to play Super Smash Brothers, the card game. Because that's also not what I want to do.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's interesting.
I wish Magic was able to stick the landing with the TV show with the Russos that never happened. Or all the video games that never happened. All this kind of stuff. And I think that's what's really knocked the value of its own IP. I think a lot of Hasbro has gone, look, we tried, and it keeps failing. And that's a shame, because I want people to explore this world.
So I think guess the struggle always is with this kind of thing, especially with the Universes Beyond, to try and articulate it better as well, is that it isn't that there's that difference between, is this a set that's interacting with another IP and just kind of like having a glance at it and trying to do what it can with it, trying to touch on it, try and, as you like, just pull the player base out from there a little bit and expand Magic's horizons in its most pure, like trying to put a good spin on it? Or is it actually taking an IP that it actually thinks it can do well and actually fully immersing you within that IP in a way that only Magic the Gathering can? Now, for certain IPs, I don't think that's possible. Something like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where the fans are so disparate based on what media they've engaged with and what things actually matter to them. It might be really difficult then to have a set that fully immerses you when you never even really fully immerse yourself in it anyway. You only had a surface level interaction with the IP. So then to have this full, like, almost envelop you, go, this is way too many turtles. I only really cared a little bit about the turtles, and I don't actually know about any of this other stuff. So why are you putting it in front of me? Actually makes it a little bit more difficult than, say, something like Avatar, where, you know, it's not a very hard thing to engage with. It's not a very wide story. So, but the fact that the set could then go, cool, well, we haven't actually got that much to go on, so let's just expand as much as we can, but not push it to the point of where it's trying to go like, hey, isn't this cool? Isn't this cool thing that you like?
Yeah.
It felt much more genuine. And I'm not saying this doesn't feel genuine, it just feels like it's a lot, and it feels like it's actively pushing me away instead of pulling me in, because it's just so much of what it is. And again, I think a little bit of that is fallout from the fact that we've already had this kind of contemporary backgrounds in New York already. So I'm already inundated with looking at this style of background, this style of city. Then the additional bit of like, hey, do you remember this cool thing? Remember this cool thing? And that's essentially what Universes Beyond is trying to do, right? For people like us that play the game and just want to see every set as it comes out, it keeps being like, hey, but do you remember this thing? And then do you remember that thing? And then do you like space as well? Remember Star Trek? That was a show as well. All of these things that you liked as a kid, remember? Now we're doing all of them in Magic, and it's like, cool. But it makes me want to switch off a little bit, because if I want to engage with that thing, I could go and engage with that thing. And I don't mind it a little bit every now and again. I don't mind it from the Commander's X, because it's like, hey, I want to see Magic explore these other worlds, but I don't like when these other worlds come and sit in, and Magic has to go, cool, I guess I'm chewing this up and trying to digest it for you. Which might, by the end of this year, feel like that's what's happening, especially when we start getting to further away from IPs that I was really immersed in. Like, we're in the year of Andy. I think we've had a couple of years of Nathan, of things that I'm really passionate about, and it's really exciting for me to see Magic kind of touch on them, whereas now I'm kind of getting to the point of I'm like, cool, it does a thing I like. Thank God I really like mechanics, otherwise I couldn't give a shit about this other interpretation of Michelangelo.
Yeah, every UB set this year is really true. Every UB set that's coming out this year is an IP that I have had more than a passing engagement with, and then some of them have had days of my life actively like involved in. The Star Trek episodes we're going to do are going to be wild. Yeah. Because I'm going to be sat here going like, I love this and I hate it as well.
And there's me going to be going, I don't really understand. I think it's awesome.
Klingons!
One last thing I want to say, and I think this is indicative of what of how Universes Beyond is ruining the game. Because I'm happy to say that at the end of this episode.
So funny.
Instead of the beginning.
I don't know if I've ever said that on this one.
Because it's things like Weirdness to 11 with the number 11. Pain 101. Cowabunga! ! The integrity of Magic the Gathering certainly is failing on certain regards. At first it was things like Famiridin, which is funny because that's Universes Within, and we hated that.
Yeah, that was bad.
But now we're getting to a point of where it's not that it's less acceptable because it's more of it. It's more, if anything, the environment it's in makes it more palatable. But then my brain starts to accept it, which means it will start accepting it in Universes Within, which is not the place I want it to be. Because that, for me, is then where it starts to become cool. Universes Beyond is starting to influence the Universes Within as well.
Do you know what the other weird thing about, specifically the one... I agree with you, by the way. And I think the weird one about the concept of turning things up to 11 is a recent idiom from the... And by recent, I mean within the past few decades.
Yeah.
From the film, This Is Spinal
Tap, yeah. Which it became almost a parody of itself, even though it was its own
a
parody. Yeah.
And it's about one of the musicians from the band Spinal Tap is showing off his fancy amps, and he's turning to the interviewer and who's saying, "Oh, you know, how loud do these things go?" And he goes, "Well, I had this one special made so I could turn it up to 11 because mostly things go up to 10. If you haven't seen this scene." And the joke is, he goes, "Why don't you just make everything a bit louder?"
Yeah, make 10 louder. It's like, yeah, but this one goes to 11. Yeah.
So that is a joke from like a piece of not contemporary media, from modern media, let's say. That is a zeitgeisty meme now. That has now worked its way into the lexicon of like a thing that isn't even the thing.
Do you know what's even worse? I had noticed right next to Michelangelo, Weirdness to 11, having such legendary creatures in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle set, is Michelangelo, Mutant BFF.
Oh shit! See, now this is where it gets really silly.
Dude, like the thing is, I get it, and it's fine because I know that this set is. And if this was the only Universes Beyond set this year, I'd actually really, really enjoy this. But it's kind of like the point of, because every other set is a Universes Beyond, if every one of them has to have the IP pushed to its extent to be this big bombastic thing, and also yet be standard playable, and yet also be appealing to Commander players. Because there are so many aspects of this that are actually really appealing that we haven't even mentioned, like the alternate artworks.
Yeah.
Some of them are really cool. The fact they use cartoons, and the fact that the foiling does everything but the cartoon part of them. It always pops like one of those old school cards of where the only part of it that wasn't foil was the artwork. And it kind of plays off of that. So there's actually a lot of things within this set which have a lot of really cool care and attention I can really engage with. But overall, it is a little bit alarming that we've gone from a push Spider-Man set to then having this, and then having Marvel Heroes coming out this year as well. It's just a lot of the same, and that's fine. But this is exactly what they didn't want to happen with fucking blocks. So it's not that you don't want to give us blocks. It's that you want to give us IP slot blocks across a whole year. Tell me how that's better. Oh, I know how that's better because it keeps making flash in the pan fucking money for you. But let's see what happens in a few years' time.
Wow.
Can you keep milking? Are there enough little cash cows to milk? Who knows?
I think it's probably not outrageous to say that we might not be doing this podcast by the time that these things kind of come to a head. And look at that face! Oh my god! Well, come on, man. Like, say if these things are felt.
Is this your subtle way of telling me you're dying?
I'm saying if we're doing this podcast in the next 5 years, even 10 years, then maybe our priorities haven't quite happened where they should do in our lives.
Okay.
What I'm saying is...
Oh god, I have to grow up now.
No, what I'm saying is that I think the effects of these might not be felt for quite some time.
True.
In the same way that we look at things like, I don't know, original Mirrodin block and go, yeah, that was actually kind of weird. Maybe
I also kind of think it's funny, I'll look back at some things like Warhammer and be like, surely we have to go back, because now they're doing this for things like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Warhammer has such a bigger fucking world that you could have done something interesting with. We could have actually gone into the fucking chaos side of things way more.
I wonder if things like Warhammer, or even like The Walking Dead, which was the OG and the most conservative and the least appropriate in so many ways.
Yeah.
Because they are quite dark IPs with very adult themes.
Yeah, I guess this is all cartoons, right? Spider-Man's a cartoon, this is a cartoon, Avatar's a cartoon.
To do Warhammer justice, you have to start getting into like demonic BDSM cult worship as like a standard.
It's not that far away from things like Phyrexia though, right?
But there's a line to be towed, and you know, and I understand. Look, this has gone full philosophy now. I understand everything has like a oh my god, what's the term? There's a thing where like the goalposts shift of like public opinion. I can't remember. That's it. I know people's like societies like goalposts of these things move around, right? However, there are always lines to be towed. So when people maybe in our own playgroup or online say things like, yeah, but Magic's always been a bit ridiculous and always a bit silly, you go, yes, but if you cross the line, it doesn't matter if you've crossed it by a millimetre or a mile.
You still have crossed it.
You've crossed it.
The threshold has been reached.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you. So, all that to say that...
Overton window. Yes. That's what yeah.
Wonderful. So yeah, good, like, it's... I'm agnostic.
Hey man, it's a really good Ninja Turtles set.
Yeah, I think we said it perfectly, as you say. As a Magic the Gathering set, do I think it works? It's fine. And there's lots of really cool Magic the Gathering cards that interact with my other Magic the Gathering cards, and I'm going to have a really fun meld time with it. From a flavour point of view, at the time, the things that I recognise, are very cool. And I'm sure for those that really love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, this has been a really fun experience for you. As a standard set, now adding that to everything else that's going to happen over the next... Also, it's a 5-year standard rotation, remember? Like,
Christ. This
is getting bazonkers. Standard is now Commander Light.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And because the other thing as well is if it's 76 Legends, you can't have 4 of those in play at the same time.
No.
So, like... And if that keeps happening, because that is going to keep happening whenever you get to these universes beyond, because you want to keep showing all the cool characters, I wonder what Standard's going to look like in a year, 2 years.
I'm truly dreading Star Trek for that exact reason. Because there's a little kind of like look down the road. If you have, let's say we do OG series, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, and then that's just the 90s ones, right? 90s, early 2000s. Then you've got things like Strange New Worlds. Oh god, they're going to have to go at me for not listening more now. Discovery, Lower Decks, and Starfleet Academy. Like, that's 9 mainline TV shows.
And there's even Picard, right? But the series.
Picard's kind of. I mean, Picard's set in. Picard's basically Next Generation and Voyager.
Right, sure.
Next, right? So that's 9 mainline shows, and I'm sure I'm missing one here somewhere along the line, with 9 crews and 9 ships and 9 sets of battles.
How many enterprises you could have? So it's kind of
there's
exciting.
There's only 2 enterprises.
Sorry, okay, but how many? Yeah, okay, fine.
Well, no, that's not technically true. But this is it. This is where you get into it. There's going to be an Enterprise C. There's going to be and the movies. So you're going to have Enterprise.
Yeah. Do you have
Enterprise
various versions of Spock? Do you have various versions of Khan? Wasn't it?
Yeah, Khan Noonien Singh is a character.
Yeah.
I actually can't wait. I can't wait to do this because I can tell you right now for a fucking start. Not only can I name like, oh, this is like Voyager and it's on it's a Voyager class, or this is a Cardassian spaceship. I can do all of the Enterprises from the Enterprise all the way through to like the
Halo
Enterprise D, Enterprise E. Well, the Halo one's Discovery. Enterprise E. I know there's an Enterprise J, but I can do all of them with all their classes as well. Like, I know which one's the Constitution class, the Ambassador class. Like, I can do it all, baby.
Man, and this is proof that it doesn't matter who you are, you can get a girlfriend. Like, no, I'm kind of excited because this is back to back. Then it's going to be because Marvel. I think like we're both going to yada yada through because we've been so inundated with Marvel things anyway that I kind of don't care anymore. But this will be kind of interesting because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Star Trek are both things I have like an ancillary kind of like. I think I probably know this one more because it was my younger years, whereas Star Trek was my later early childhood. Sure. I guess, even though I do remember running back through the kitchen back and forth each time that the Enterprise went chatting
with Next Generation.
Yeah.
Look, man, Next Gen's the go. I'm a big Deep Space Nine is my favourite as an adult because any sane person would know that that's true. But like Next Gen's like the go.
Yeah, I think my concern with Star Trek is everything feels like just different shades of the same colour.
No, wrong.
Oh, well, we'll
get into it. We'll get into it.
We'll talk about this in 6 months' time.
Oh Christ.
Yeah.
Okay, let us know how you feel about Ninja Turtles, or as we called them in the UK, because the BBFC didn't like the idea of ninjas being the main characters, the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
Oh yeah, fuck it was that, wasn't it?
Let us know on our Bluesky, mtflavouring.bluesky.social. I think that's actually the thing. I've done it for right.
Well done, sir.
Could be wrong. Emails go to MTG Flavouring? No, Magic the Flavouring. No, MT Flavouring.
You had it right the first time, yeah.
Yeah. At gmail.com. Let us know how you feel about some of these big issues, man. I mean, look, Magic the Gathering is maybe a step too far, but did you actually think the theming of the Turtle set was fine? If you are a Ninja Turtles fan, like through and through, who like has watched all the shows and the movies and everything, did they do a good job or no?
Tell us some artwork that you really liked, because we didn't talk about it much because we're not a visual podcast. But there's some good art in this, man. There's some cool looking cards.
Sometimes there's just too much to say when the things that you really want to say are everything's burning.
Yeah, well, everything's also just a fucking turtle, man. Like, there's so much. Well, imagine if you don't like turtles. This whole set just sucks. Fuck amphibians, man.
Thank you so much for listening. This has been Magic the Flavouring.
We'll see you soon.